Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Superboy The Legacy Commentaries. Last week we did Season 2, Episode 14, Yellow Perry's Spell of Doom, and this week, by pure coincidence, we're going to do the next episode, which is Season 2, Episode 15, entitled Microboy. We weren't planning to do two episodes back-to-back that were aired back-to-back. It just happens that the two episodes we chose happened to air like that, so a bit of a nice coincidence. But, yeah. I really like this episode, Microboy. I think it's one of my actual favourite episodes from Season 2, even if his Microboy suit looks so unbelievably awful.
Well, you know.
Well, the cowl at least looks really bad.
It does, but you can think of it this way, Tom. Hector was making this costume in his basement, garage, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely true.
It does look very handmade.
It's one of the very few times where a homemade super suit actually looks like a homemade super suit. Because let's face it, when you watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie and you saw the Amazing Spider-Man when they did that, both movies have a scene of Peter making his Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can make that Spider-Man suit at home. One, it would cost you an absolute fortune. And two, if you've no experience in needlework and clothes design, you're not going to do it. There's no way Peter Parker could make the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit. It's just impossible. Like, even some cosplayers have trouble when they do it constantly. But are we ready to get going?
I'm ready when you're ready.
Fantastic. Okay, so Season 2, Episode 15, Microboy. Get ready, sync up your version. Get ready to hit play in 3, 2, 1, play.
Yeah, you were saying it before, last week. That commentary, that opening sequence is so great.
I love the 3D Superboy text that appears. I think it just looks great. I wish more Superman-related media would actually do something like that, because Lois and Clark never bothered.
Yeah,
I don't think Superboy bothered in the third and fourth season. I think this is the last time you see that version of the logo.
Yeah.
Maybe the CW shows do it, but Microboy. I love this episode. I really do. I think it's got so much charm to it. Interesting bit of trivia, though, for people that might not have heard Stacey Hydeck's interview. I think it was with Comic Book Central. Apparently, she had a real crush on this actor. Apparently she fancied him quite a bit when they were shooting.
Yep.
Maybe it was all the reading Shakespeare to her. They always say if you want to get a girl, read her poetry.
Yep.
That booth thing, I wonder what that actually was, because there's no way they built that for the episode. It looks too expensive. It's not the same booth they used for Bizarro.
No, it's not.
No. I wondered maybe if it was a redress of it. It is funny when I see that photo of Microboy's father. I always think he looks like Adam Driver with a mustache.
Yep.
Your father, Kylo Ren. See, I would have waited to do this after she left.
Well, not for nothing, but he did slam the door in her face. I figured
she was back through that door though a second later. So He's got an interesting voice, the actor playing Microboy.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's done any voice acting.
I don't think he's done any voice acting, although he has done a lot of directing recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's done a lot of work on NCIS as a director.
Nice. I always like seeing when someone related to Superboy goes on to bigger and better things. Well, bigger, maybe not necessarily better in our view, since we love this show so much, but you know.
Yeah, the only problem that I seem to have with this episode is, and it's towards the middle, it seems like there's a whole section just cut out of it. Like
I wonder if they ran out of
scenes.
time. Or maybe they ran out of time, or potentially this might have been planned as a two-parter. Who knows? If Michael Carlin, if you happen to be watching, please let us know what happened. Since you were so heavily involved in the show, maybe you'll know. Or maybe a scene just wasn't working, or was too complicated and they had to cut it or something.
I love George Takeiris as Professor Peterson.
So do I. He's definitely got the most 80s hairstyle in the show.
And I think I've mentioned this before, but this is actually his second appearance in a superhero-related show.
What was he in before this?
Wonder Woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had one episode where he appears.
Huh. See, Wonder Woman's another show that I watched all the time. I watched it as often as I could when I was a kid, but I was so young that I remember almost nothing about it. I know that I watched it because I remember having the biggest crush on Linda Carter. Maybe that's why I remember nothing about it, because I was just watching her.
Like
especially when she would run. It's like, yeah, it's why I never watched Baywatch. I don't need Baywatch. I've got Wonder Woman. I'll watch her running in slow motion. Much more fun. But no, Linda Carter was fantastic as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman 84 when it came out. Just not a good movie at all. But I love that they gave Linda Carter a cameo at the end, finally. She should have been in the first one. She should have been playing Diana's mother in the first one, really.
They were trying to get her, but unfortunately her schedule was
that's fair enough.
Lousy.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about this before, but you know, Mrs. Hornsby is just awful as a mother.
She's just the stereotypical nagging mother character, isn't she?
Yeah.
There's the cow, which, you know, it doesn't look as bad in that shot. I think the cow would have worked so much better if they hadn't cut out the ear holes.
Yeah.
They just let it go flat like the Batman cow. It's just, I think the main problem is it looks about 2 sizes too big for him. But again, maybe they had someone else cast initially. Maybe it was made for someone else. I don't know.
Could be.
It happens all the time. Actors drop out. It's almost a shame he couldn't stick around, actually, because I like the character. I would have liked for him to, you know, become a recurring character. Find a way to get his powers under control and have him pop up to help Superboy in a future episode. That would have been fun. But
we should bring him back for season 5.
Yeah, somehow. Maybe all that time in the past when he gets stranded there with the Wright brothers, like maybe he spent long enough away from microwaves that his condition stabilized.
Yep.
Simple enough. Easy, and, you know, I don't think we need to say any more than that. I love how excited he seems to be to finally be able to turn into Wonder Boy. Not Wonder Boy, Microboy.
Yep.
Poor Andy, though. He always seems to get taken as a hostage. That guy's got the worst luck. Landing could have done with another take, but it wasn't awful.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we'll put my Microboy in the Legion of Superheroes episode. Maybe they pulled him from the past when some sort of paradox was about to be created due to his presence, and they were like, "We can't change the future. We'll have to bring him here."
Yep.
And the Legion could cure his condition easily.
Yep.
See, this scene, you've got one random photography student there.
Yeah.
If they kept TJ around, you wouldn't have needed to. I just always think, I wish TJ was in these episodes.
Yeah, this episode would have worked much better as a season 1 episode with TJ.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right. This is the worst mother in the show, at least. I've seen worse mothers on other shows, but yeah. Honestly, I think if I had a parent like this, I would have got myself emancipated by now.
Yeah.
I'd like to say it's very stereotypical, but unfortunately, I have met people in my life who are genuinely like that. And they're people that I stay as far away from as possible.
Yeah.
But they definitely exist, which is sad. I wonder if they did make that chamber especially for the episode.
Probably.
It just seems too expensive. All that glass and decent bit of acting, you know. Nothing award worthy, but totally works for the tone of the show. Because that's one thing I keep saying to people. This show is just like watching a comic book come to life. It really is. Like it's closer to the comics than any other Superman property that I can think of. Probably because of the fact that they had so many writers from the comics actually working on the show. But it's quite a tragic story, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is probably why they put all the Shakespeare references in this episode. See, all he wants to do is be a hero.
Yeah, he wants to be a hero for
a girl. But I mean, there's worse reasons to become a superhero.
Yeah, but that sequence right there, when they switch to him just kidnapping Lana, that's where it seems like something is missing.
Yeah. Almost as if, maybe that scene with the mother should have gone on a little bit longer. Maybe they were running short on time or something, but I'm sure there are other places in this episode they could have cut some stuff if needed.
Yeah.
Although saying that, it's a very tightly written episode. There's no real dead moments.
Now, the only real dead thing we have is that costume.
Yeah. Tell you what, when we do season 5, I'm going to remake that costume but make it look good. That would be quite the challenge, but I think that might be fun. I'll give him a cowl that actually looks pretty badass. It'll still be the same colours though, so it will never look truly badass.
I like the makeup that they put on him for this sequence here. He actually looks sick.
He does. Like, I wonder if the missing scene that you talk about, maybe that was his condition deteriorating more. Because he seems to go from pretty much fine to on death's, knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
I've said it before, but Lana is very wise for her age. I always like when she has little tidbits like that little bit of knowledge. I mean, it's common knowledge, but, it's obviously something that Hector missed.
Well, given how his mother raised him,
yeah, makes sense. Understandable. That was a good landing from Gerard there. See, that pulsing sort of glowing effect would have come in very useful in Yellow Perry for the bubble sequence. Yeah. That's all that would have needed. Just a little bit of digital trickery to make it look less like plastic.
Just little touch-ups.
I love that Superboy as a show was not afraid to make the villain of the week actually a good person who's just made some mistakes. I'd like to say it's a bit out of character how he's acting here, but he does think he's about to die. Like he knows something's wrong with him and he's panicking.
Yeah, this definitely would have been better as a 2-part episode.
Hell, this moment here even would have been a good cliffhanger. And then the next episode, his condition would deteriorate more. He gets more and more desperate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen a second part to this episode. One question. They're talking about sending him back in time and his machines can send a frog through time, but it's too dangerous for humans. What happened to the time machine from season 1? Because we know he still had it at the beginning of season 2 because they mentioned it.
If you noticed at the beginning when they brought the frog back,
yeah,
they mentioned Professor Zugar. This is actually his time machine. It's been upgraded.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, if this is a new time machine, why can't they just use the old one? But also, the old one worked fine. Why would you even need to upgrade it?
Well, if you recall,
well, he got back.
Yeah, but it was pretty much put together with spit and baling wire, as it were.
I'm pretty sure this is the only reason he's got a horrible mother in the episode. It's because they needed a reason that he wouldn't be too upset about leaving her.
Yeah.
Which is just a sign of a good writer. They knew what they needed to set up in order to make the ending work.
Yep.
I do love this ending, even though, yeah, there's one thing about it that I think is a little bit cheesy, but, you know, the ending in general is brilliant. Little bit rude. Guy you don't know shows up at your place, introduces himself, and you just ignore him and get back to your conversation.
Well, they are scientists, so.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the one element there I think is a little bit cheesy, having Stacey there. Well, it's nice, but, you know, it's... She does well with the accent, though. I'll give her that.
Yep.
I suppose it is one of the easier accents to mimic, though. Or at least that's what most people think.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, it's definitely a good episode, you know. It could have used a polish on it. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
There's some stuff that's missing, so it probably should have been extended out into a two-parter.
Yeah.
Because,
I'll give it this. It's not a flabby episode in terms of the writing. Like, it does everything it needs to do, and there's no sort of wasted time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what is there, like you say, just need a little bit of polish. Because it's a tight script, but it's, you know, a little bit more work, and I think it could have been something great.
Yeah. And he seems to just go from, you know, being a hero to going the villainous route way too quickly.
Yeah. Like you said, it seems like there's a scene missing, yeah.
A scene or maybe multiple scenes. Maybe they originally did plan it as a two-parter, and then they said, no, we don't have the money to make it as a two-parter, so you got to cut it down. And this is what we got.
I'm just glad that they didn't, you know, I mean, it would have been so easy. Like, say, if I was writing this episode and, you know, I was not confident that it was a good enough story, I would have been tempted to have him kill the mother.
Yeah.
Halfway through the episode. Maybe by accident. Maybe she says like, oh, honey, you look like you've got a fever or something. She puts her hand on his face and suddenly her hand is on fire and she burns to death. That would have been...
Yeah.
I think that would have been too far. But, you know, it would have been very easy to do that. I think it would have been tempting at least.
Yeah.
Let's face it, the mother is so annoying, you kind of want to see her, you know, get her
just desserts. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, overall,
I'm glad they didn't do it.
Overall, it has its moments where it's absolutely great. And the fact that, you know, Superboy and Clark don't appear that much in the episode kind of leads me to believe that maybe it was originally planned as a two-parter.
Yeah. It feels like maybe it was, but like we say, maybe we're completely wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe they just ran out of money and the scene that they cut was the most expensive scene in the episode. And they were like, well, let's just cut this. It won't matter.
Yeah, and like you said before, Mike Carlin, if you're watching this, which we know you probably are, if you could, you know,
I hope he is.
Let us know, because it just seems like
there's a story. I saw an interview. Do you watch Corridor Digital on YouTube? They do like VFX artists react to stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Well, they did an episode this week where Tim Miller, director of Deadpool, was in it. And he said that obviously that film had a much lower budget than it looks. Like that movie had hardly any money at all. And one of their literally their most expensive day, and they couldn't shoot it another day because it was the most expensive day. They were supposed to have like a whole scene, huge, great big choreographed fight sequence, all this stuff. But there was a rainstorm that started, and they said, you've literally got 40 minutes before it starts raining again. You need to get everything you need to for today in 40 minutes. It's like, there's no way. We've got, wire work teams. We've got explosions to set off, bullet squibs to, it's just not possible. And he said that's where he earned his money as a director, because he said, right, we're scrapping absolutely everything. We're going to come up with something right now, and we're going to shoot it as quickly as possible, and we're going to get out of it. And that's what they did. Like an entire huge, great big elaborate set piece of the movie was cut down to they're walking down an alleyway, a couple of muggers try and attack the woman. Deadpool comes in, kills them immediately, and it's over in 1 minute instead of 8 minutes. And maybe that's the same sort of thing they had to do here. We know Superboy's budget was low. Maybe they had to make a judgment call.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the infamous Raiders of the Lost Ark story.
Oh, when he had diarrhea, just shoots him instead. It's the best scene of the film as well. But that is where directors earn their money. They know what to cut and when. They know like a good director knows what battles to fight and which ones to give up. It's usually to the studio. It's usually the studio the director's fighting with, if anyone. But yeah. Good director knows what to cut, what not to, what fights to, proceed with, and which ones to back off. But I don't know. A show like Superboy, it would not surprise me at all if there was scenes cut, like you say. Like I know for a fact that Sam owns all of Gerard's original scripts with all of Gerard's notes. I'm actually going to message him tonight and just say, would you have a look at your Microboy script and just let me know if there's any deleted scenes in there?
Yeah.
Because if anyone has that information right now, it's probably Sam. So, yeah, I'll get on to Sam tonight about that.
Yeah, it's probably Sam or Mike Carlin.
Yeah.
And
then again, the script might be like, he's got boxes and boxes of stuff. It might be too much trouble to actually find a specific script at this time, but who knows? We'll find out one day. I forget. Let me pull it up. Right, Microboy. Carrie Bates. It's a Carrie Bates episode.
Yeah.
And he's a good writer. I like Carrie Bates.
Yeah. So
he's not my favorite writer, but he is, he's as much a legend as any of the other comic book writers that worked on this show.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great run on both Superboy and Superman in the 80s. So,
yeah, like I say, he's not my favorite, but he's a legend. I have to give up respect to him,
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway,
so
should we wrap this up?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Okay. So that was Microboy. Do you agree with what we've been saying throughout this episode? Do you disagree with us? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll try and have another episode of whatever for you next. It probably won't be a commentary next time, but we'll have a chat and we'll come up with something fun for you guys.
Yep, absolutely. Take care, guys.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Goodbye.